This episode is brought to you by Dee Accounting.
That just again shows the ignorance. It's like, what the fuck do you mean? For years we were locked out. We were locked out. Like, we had to fucking build our own colleges to get a degree because we were fucking locked out. And you're looking at us like, why the fuck should you get like precedence over who gets an education? Because for centuries we couldn't fucking have one.
I was really like,
what?
I was like, why should we give precedence? Is this a real fucking question? And they were like, really like, well, I don't understand. Like, wow. And then they went into the Black Americans just think the world revolves around them. They think everything revolves around them.
But you're here.
They think they should give precedence for everything. I was like, but maybe this is here. Maybe this is something where we like really should.
But again, it's even the entitlement. It's like, you fucking come here to America and then tell us, well, why do you think that everything revolves around you and you should get everything here? We live here.
We do live here. Like, we do live here. We were born and raised here.
We were born here. Our families were born here.
Are from here.
What the fuck do you mean?
We built this country quite literally from the ground up. We fought for your immigration rights to come here.
And then you come here like...
What is it? How is it that far-fetched that maybe we should get something in our home country?
I don't like that you taking the monopoly on this shit. You need to move over and let me get a piece. Like, bitch.
That's selfish.
Get the fuck up. Get out of here.
I think they're projecting. They're the ones that are selfish, and they're the ones that think that everything should revolve around them and that they should get everything and they're entitled. And so they like project that onto us.
And it's like the weird, again, you've had when the Cynthia lady thing happened, and it was a lot of, oh my gosh, what is the word? Basically, it was just a lot of people just like, they come over here, and of course it's just like looking down at you, thinking they're entitled, they can have everything. And then it's like really under the cloak. Now I remember, it's like they're hiding under the cloak of like blackness to get by. And they're like, oh, they won't check me. They won't think anything's wrong because I'm black like them.
Yeah.
And then black people, we finna be cool. And we used to, like, we always were like, cool, you're black, we're black,
wonderful.
Whatever. Like, come on in. Like, if the pot's warm, like, get in here. But it's like, but then they get in there and they're like, ah, and they rip it off and they're like, Nigeria.
Yeah, they're taking advantage. No, that's literally exactly literally.
And they're like, get the fuck out of the way.
That's literally exactly what it is.
It's like, whoa.
I just saw something the other day about fucking Yvonne Orji. This fucking Yvonne Orji. I don't like this girl. That she had like posted something that was like, when you're in the writer's room with like 3 other Nigerians, and when you like worked hard to like get you and your fellow Nigerians in the room, or, you know, it was something like that. And so somebody had left a comment, somebody had sent it to me, so I just like was reading the comments, and somebody had left a comment that was like, you know, it's very interesting how when you're playing a Black American on Insecure, or when you're trying to, it's we're all Black when you're getting these roles, and when we're talking about these movie roles or these TV roles or da-da-da-da-da, it's we're all Black, we're all Black, we're all Black. But like now, once you're in a writer's room, it's you and your Nigerians that you brought with you. It's not you and your niggas that you brought with you. It's not you and your Black people that you brought with you.
From everywhere.
From everywhere. It's you and your Nigerians specifically that you brought with you.
And it's always very weird because they're allowed to be cliquish. And of course, that's why it is very like the colonizer mindset, and it is very insidious to me. And I know we've talked about it before, where it's like, is it a foreign Black or a white? Which one's worse? I think the Black supremacists are like the wolf in sheep's clothing.
I think the Blacks are worse.
That's worse to me because it's like you're coming in here, like literally coming to me with under the guise that we're all the same. I'm here for you. I'm here with you, girl. We go through the exact same thing.
Right.
I feel you. And I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do this shit together. And then they're like,
a white person, I could look at them and be like,
I don't trust you, or like, and it'd be like, prove to me otherwise. But a Black person, it's on site, like, all right, we're good. And they use that to be like,
advantage.
Oh yeah, we're all Black, it's all love, it's all good. And then the minute they get what they want out of them, they're like, fuck you niggas. All right, everybody from Nigeria, come on over.
Right.
Like, I opened the door for you guys, like, let you in. And we're like, yo, what the fuck? Like, we got you here. And they're like, get the fuck, go over there. Let the Nigerians come through. They're allowed to be protective of their stuff and their culture, and they're allowed to elevate each other, but we're not. If we do it, we're being
Samuel
selfish.
Jackson had said, well, what if I'm a Black American actor, Samuel Jackson, what if a Black American had been cast in Get Out? People got mad that he said that. They got very upset. But it's fine for Yvonne Orji to be like, when I fucking get into the writing room and I bring my Nigerians with me. Again, it's like there's this taboo. And I really think the taboo is because we're American. I think the taboo is because we're American. Like, we have no allies. It sounds horrible to say, but we have no allies. It's like white people just X out, not our allies. Non-Black persons of color, because they could still practice anti-Black racism and they still benefit from anti-Black racism, especially in a hierarchical structure. There. And then you also have, foreign Blacks, non-American Blacks, that they also don't like us because we're American. I really think it has to do with this idea of us being American. And America is this, like, superpower, and this idea of America is this, like, land of plenty and resources. And, again, this colonizer mindset that people can come to America and just take whatever they want. Like, so much is wrapped up in this idea of America and us being American, and that we should be ashamed. We should have all this shame about being American and about being descendants of American chattel slavery, and how it's taboo to even be proud to say, like, it is not cool to be like, yeah, I'm proud to be an American. Like, that is not cool. Like, again, like putting American flags in a bio or something like that is not cool. So it's like, non-American Blacks, foreign Blacks don't like us because we're American, and they think it's perfectly fine to run roughshod all over us, to take things from us, to pull themselves up, to click up. Non-Black persons of color don't fuck with us, and white people don't fuck with us. Like, we don't have no allies except other DACS. Like,
and I think also there's a lot of projecting too. I think they really do project, like, the stereotypical, like, white American, like, personality onto Black Americans, and
white
think that we act that
ideas.
Way. Yeah, and it's like, I think they really think, now let's not say that we can't be entitled, because everybody can, but I think it's really weird how it's like, they like projecting like, oh, you're entitled, and I really do believe.
And lazy. The
ironic, we were slaves and did everything for free, and then once we're free, we're all of a sudden
like,
lazy.
Oh, you guys don't want to work, you're lazy. Why else do you think that Black immigrants are able to come here and lap you? And it's like, because you can take advantage of white supremacist infrastructure that specifically doesn't want us as descendants of American chattel slavery.
It's specifically designed to keep us out, and then because you're not one of us, you can slip through those cracks and be like, I'm Black, but I'm not that Black. Right. And get those positions,
and you don't care,
and they
you have
don't
a colonizer
care.
Mindset that you should just be able to take whatever you want and not be challenged.
And I think also with that, because they're projecting that white racist colonizer bullshit that America has done onto us, they're also like, well, I don't feel bad because of the atrocities your country has committed. Yeah. And it's like, well, the country did it to fucking us too. Like, we were all the time. We were holding their hand while they were slaughtering Indians. Like, we were.
They'd be like, well, white people did this and this. I'd be like, oh, I know.
Yeah,
that does not absolve you.
Yeah, and like many people say, we live in two separate Americas. Like, even though we're here, we don't live the same experience or benefit the same way that white people do in this country. So for you...
That's another thing.
Yeah, so for you to blanket like all Americans are this way, when it's very real and very apparent and very well documented that we here don't live the same way that they do, but you're using that as an excuse, the dissonance, to... oh, well, I'm just going to put that blanket statement over you so I don't feel guilty for screwing you over when I know you already have it hard. I don't want to feel guilty, so I'm going to paint you and say that you're no different than them. That's why I don't feel bad for fucking you over, because your country fucks over everybody else too, so why the fuck can I come over here and do it too?
I was just about to say... the imperialism, so many times people bring up American imperialism and this idea of like, well, America fucks over everybody, so like Black Americans deserve to get fucked
too. And
it's like, whoa, we didn't do anything. Like, we have not been in any types of positions of power, leading any types of world wars. Like it's only been one Black president, and his father was Kenyan, not a descendant of American chattel slavery. So it's just like...
his father came from your place.
Right. Like, so even the people that's like, yeah, well, I hate Barack's policies and this is why Black Americans... I'd be like, Whoa. I'd be like, stop right there, because that wasn't no DSCS policies. Like, go to the Kenyans for that one. Don't blame us. But it's just like, none of us have been in any type of positions of power, again, leading any world wars or, championing any type of, again, American imperialist infrastructure. And it's really this idea of lumping us together with white America and not understanding that there are two Americas, and not understanding again, American imperialism and like war, for an example. Like, people don't know that like descendants of American chattel slavery, like black male veterans, were like specifically left out of the GI Bill. So we were not able to even be recipients of any type of federal government assistance that was for veterans, soldiers. So it's just like when people are like, well, black Americans fight in wars and then they come home and reap the benefits of American imperialism, I'd be like, where? I was like, you haven't heard? Of course they haven't. All the numerous of stories of people who are in like World War II or Vietnam still coming back home getting spit on called nigger. Like, that's exactly why Muhammad Ali couldn't get fucking jobs after they like after they discharged from the military for whatever reason. Yes. Now they're like, you lazy nigger don't work. And it's like, I have PTSD or I'm an amputee because I lost something in the war. Like, I fought for my country. And it's like, well, sucks to suck. It sucks. And people are just like, well, America does this, America does that. America has so much. America has so much money. Americans have all these opportunities. And it's just like, we are black. Like, we're black Americans. Like, we're the descendants of American chattel slavery. We don't have anything. We barely benefit from any type of, again, government programs or government assistance. The number one recipients
affirmative action.
The number one recipients of affirmative action are white women. And now, when you're talking about diversification efforts and black efforts specifically, it's the children of immigrants, black immigrants. So it's still not even DACS. So we're not even benefiting from any of these government programs that people try to pretend we're benefiting from. We don't have any type of accumulated wealth. We were kept out of the education system. We've been funneled into the prisons. We are disenfranchised in poor communities due to things like redlining and gerrymandering. We don't have any type of representation in Congress. So again, it's not like we've been passing any fucking imperialist laws. And so it's just like, people are like, well, America fucking sucks, so I'm just going to come to America and do what I want and fuck you because you're an American. And there's just
and you're a victim here too. And they're like,
there's no understanding of the fact that we even are victims here. Because even when people be like, well, I don't understand why black Americans don't take advantage of this, and this and get ahead. You have so much opportunity in America. And I just be like, you're so ignorant. Like, you just don't know. You didn't even try. Right? Like, you didn't even fucking try. Like, you didn't even try before you fucking said that. You don't know anything. You're assuming, again, going off what you see on TV or going off of what is available to white Americans. If you see something that says that like the average American has $5,000 in savings, but then you look at the fucking fine print and it's like, actually that's the average white American, because white Americans outnumber black people, so the average is going to be pushed by white people. So it's like, actually that's the average white American. And then you look and you see like the average black American has like $20 in savings. Somebody's going to look at that number and be like, why don't these niggas want to work? They got $5,000 in the bank and this and that. Like, and the school system is this and the this is that. And they just don't have any understanding of the way that anything works for us here. And they don't want to learn either.
They don't care.
They're willfully ignorant, like you said.
Because they don't want to feel guilty.
So they don't have to feel guilty. So they could just come here and just take and then just be like, well.
And even then.
Y'all just lazy.
Even then, it's still not good enough because for them, like even the benefits they do get, it's like, well, I want more of them. I want all of it because this is they're not black immigrants, but Asian immigrants are actually suing Harvard right now because of that. And for a little detail about that is because they're all coming from like outstanding backgrounds with like extremely high grades and extremely exceptional applications, that they had to change the way that they accept people on different things because they were all basically meeting the exact same requirements at the same like level. So they were like, well, how do we
better have 100% Asian.
Yeah, like
Asian,
we can't.
East Asian. Let's be real specific, because South Asians are East is the East Asian.
And it's like, we can't just accept all of you. We have to turn some of you away, so we have to pick on that. And they were mad, saying that was discriminatory.
But it's not fair.
When a large portion of the population at the school is already Asian, and they're mad.
They want the whole cake.
They're still upset.
They want the whole cake. Fuck the slice of the pie. I want my own cake. Give me the whole thing.
To be strictly Asian, the whole school. And it's like, even then, and we don't talk about situations where they're obviously beating out the freaking Black Americans that can't get into the fucking school, because the Asians are fucking wiping the floor with everybody, to the point where they're like, fuck, we have to find out new criteria to rate you guys just to make sure we're being fair. And they're like, fuck fair, let us all in.
It's like that saying that it's like when you get accustomed to certain things, fairness feels like oppression. So it's like, well, what do you mean? You can't just fucking let me have my way. That's not fair.
You can't fucking let us all in Harvard. Like, you all have the exact same grades. Like,
we can't let you all in.
We can't let you all in. It would be an all-Asian school.
Even if we start talking about like school and education, it's even supposed to be in terms of like higher learning. Because I used to work in college admissions, and it's even supposed to be like a cumulative, not like an application is supposed to be cumulative. So what do the grades look like? What do the extracurricular activities look like? How does your essay read? Have you done any type of community service? Have you done, like, who are you as a person? Mm-hmm. Because the whole point of college admissions is supposed to be to bring in well-rounded individuals that are going to give you a diverse and well-rounded student body, not just drill you on fucking grades.
Exactly.
And who has the fucking best straight A grade?
And that's what they started rating them on, is their personality. And they fucking got pissed because they were all super studious, and they tend to be only studious. That they were upset.
Like you even see that, but like getting even like back to the Black immigrants thing too, you even see that with, you have people that, there's a lot of people that come from, you know, wealthier upbringings in West Africa. There's like a lot of like Nigerians that have wealthy upbringings. There's a lot of like, even, I'm not even just gonna like stick it like just to Nigerians, we keep talking about them, but there's a lot of like Ghanaians that have like wealthy upbringings. There's a lot of like Black Brits, like Europeans, that have, you know, their parents have money, their parents are engineers, doctors, lawyers, you know, they have money, they're able to be sent to the best schools over in Europe, boarding schools and stuff like that. They can get these educations, and then they can come to the United States for higher education, for a university, and then they can like breeze into somewhere like Cornell, and then Cornell can say, well, look, we met our Black quota, our diversification efforts, give us our federal money because you guys told us we need to bring more Black Americans. And this is, again, getting into this idea of ethnicity and us needing to be our own ethnic group. Because they can say, well, we met our Black American quota. We have all these Blacks in America that are in our school, so give us our money.
Hold that.
And then it's the background is like, well, but
he's
wait.
been here 2 years.
Right. Right. You have a 2-year student that went to the best boarding schools in fucking Europe and graduated at 16 and was able to fucking have access to all these opportunities that your average descendant of American chattel slavery, who is a result of all these centuries of systemic racism and oppression, will never have access to. Like, that is not fair.
Exactly. Also, again, like you're saying about education too, how their parents come from like affluence. Like, my mother was the first person in my immediate family, even actually, I think, as far as I'm concerned, dating back to my great-grandparents, my mother is the only person in my family with a college degree.
I'm the only one. I was the first one in my family.
The only one, yeah. And then recently my older brother just got his college degree. So we're going to be second-generation college grads. So it's like, there weren't a lot of opportunities and doors allowed for me because my mom also, she was a nurse, so she didn't even get her bachelor's till like 3 years ago because you don't need your bachelor's as a nurse. So it's like, again, we don't really have those opportunities. A lot of people had to do hard labor jobs.
I was just about to say, you don't need it to be a nanny. You don't need to drive a car. You don't need it to mop a floor. Or you don't need it to go to prison.
Yeah, or you get certification stuff that pay you very well that you only had to go to school for a year or 8 months or something like that. And then you're able to sustain your family, of course, back then with that certification.
Right.
And it's like, well, now, of course, due to inflation and capitalism, we have to... Depending on the field you go into, you need a degree to survive. So it's like, but again, for me, with my personal college experience, oh my gosh, it's been a hot ass mess because I had no idea what the fuck I was doing because I was the first. My brothers went into the military and then got out and went to college. I was the first one outside of my mother to fucking go to college out of all of my siblings. And I had no idea what to do. I didn't know the like customs of how colleges fucked you over so much and how it's just a big cat and mouse game. And my mom would tell me like, oh yeah, I got screwed over all the time with college because she had to do it by herself too and just kind of thought I knew. And I ended up repeating the exact same mistakes that she made. But again, all of that stuff, like if my mom was like a 4th generation college grad, I would have been fucking walked through like college. I would have been walked. If she was alumni, I just would have went to that fucking college, got my degree, and boom, like had stuff set up for me and ready to go.
And even the way that a lot of like Black immigrants frame that type of conversation, which is like, well, in our culture, you know, you just have to be a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer.
Like that's easy or cheap.
You ain't shit. And it's like, well, that's great in your culture. In our culture, 40 years ago, we was motherfucking still hanging from trees. So I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry that in our culture, we were not doctors and lawyers and motherfucking engineers 40 years ago. Sorry, but like the way that things are set up here in this country where you live now and you're benefiting, the way that shit was set up, that was just not feasible for us. Exactly. But I hate respectability politics.
And even then, to get a higher degree, you had to go to a white institute that didn't let Black people in. So how am I supposed to be a doctor and go to fucking medical school if no college will allow me to attend because I'm Black? Like how, or these people have to...
They don't know their history.
Yeah, or these people have to trek to the one college that lets the Black people in and fight other Black people to get into the school on the other side of the country just for a chance to be a fucking doctor to come back and make money for your family. And even then, who says you can get a fucking job? Who will, of course you're gonna have to cater to Black people because white people won't let you see them and everything like that, which is fine.
Then you have to go to the Negro hospital, even as it is.
Exactly, and make less money because Black people back then didn't have a lot of money. And then again, and those are the people don't. Yeah, and those are the people who like had that avenue, which was rare. Everyone else had to get fucking working jobs. Like everyone had to get manual jobs as like CNAs or maids or everything like that or clerks. And so it's like I don't like respectability politics. Even this whole concept of like you have to be a lawyer, a doctor, or engineer. I'm like ethically opposed because that's just not feasible. That's not feasible for most people. It's not practical.
And it's not practical at all. And I also feel like you need skills in society and in the world and in life. You know, you also do need teachers and you need artists and you need philosophers and you need writers, and you need people to take out your garbage and you need plumbers and you need people that are going to, you need people that are not going to fucking
go out to a restaurant. You need a fucking server. Somebody has to do the job.
You need people that are going to do these things that you don't want to do, and those people should also be able to make a living wage as well. And I mean, I'm opposed to higher education. I'm opposed to the whole concept of having to like pay money for education because that's like inherently classist, because if you don't have money, then you can't get the education. So it's like you have to already be in a certain position to even be able.
And then even then it's also bullshit too, because of the system. It's like if your parents make a certain amount, we're not going to give you any loans either.
Right.
So it's like, again, you have to rely on your parents to foot the bill for you to go to schools, which is a lot easier to do if you come from fucking physicians or lawyers. Or if
you're white.
Yeah, that too. So it's just like you have all this equity. We're like, yeah, we own our own business. We'll just take out 10 stacks and send you to school. Like, that's not feasible for a lot of people. I'm against higher education unless it's like for a degree that needs
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. If you really want to be, like, a surgeon, whatever, go for it. But I definitely don't like this idea that you have to go to college. You have to pay money to go to college to get this piece of paper, to get a job, to get ahead. And yet again, that's just, like, not feasible for so many people, descendants of American chattel slavery in particular, for the myriad of reasons, you know, that we just talked about. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's an unfair system. It was already an unfair system. It was already a racist, classist system, and it's only being compounded now by this, like, influx of Black immigrants that are playing around with the numbers even more when it comes to diversity and affirmative action programs. It's just like, as far as, like, Black Americans go, like, none of this shit is working for us.
Yeah.
Like, nothing is working. And
we're just now starting, barely getting to a place where we're like, okay, like, we can start, like, we can get this shit moving. And then it's like, nope, because they come over here and they're like, out my way, bitch, it's my turn. And you're like, yo, what the fuck? And it's just ridiculous. It's like, and then again, it's this constant, like, the Pan-Africanism where it's like, you're supposed to be looking out for all of us. And it's like you said, Pan-Africanism doesn't benefit Black Americans. It doesn't. Because the whole notion of it is that it rests on our backs.
It does.
The only way this works is that we're the sacrificial lambs
and
for it.
Everybody climbs up on us. Somebody said to me, they were like, it's like the equivalent of like we are like a human ladder, and they like climb to the top and then they like kick us over. Like, bye bitches.
Thanks.
Have fun down there at the bottom, Negroes. Like, it's swag. It's not cool. That's also just why I've been thinking about, like, this global Black strongholds thing of, like, people throughout the... I've been saying Black diaspora. I'm over saying, like, African diaspora at this point. Because, like, really, we're worldwide now, like, all over the world. Black people are everywhere. Just people throughout the Black diaspora, instead of being so, like, America-centric... And again, with this colonizer mindset of we just like go to America, we like rape the shit out of it, and then we like go back home. And instead of that, this idea of like how, and I talked about this with someone else on another episode, of just like how do we build, you know, how do like Black Americans, DACS, how do we build for DACS here? How do like Black Europeans, Black Brits, Black Irishmen, Black Scots, you know, whatever, build for Black people there? How do Nigerians and Sierra Leoneans and Ghanaians and, you know, how do they build there? How do, like, Caribbeans, West Indians, Jamaicans, how do they build there so that we, and again, instead of just, like, everyone fighting over a limited number of resources here in the United States, how do we create resources on a global scale, even if the argument is going to be, well, we're all Black, so we should like all whatever, be looking out for each other, whatever. How do we even create this like network of like global strongholds so that any Black person can go anywhere in the world and be able to benefit from this, we're all Black, be able to benefit from this, we work together, be able to benefit from this, well, I can go anywhere and I can get ahead, instead of, well, everybody comes to America and fights with fucking Black Americans, descendants of American chattel slavery, and benefits from our work, and then leaves us with the motherfucking dishes to clean up at the end of the night. Yeah, leaves us with the bill.
Thanks. You can handle that, right?
Right. Like, nah, we can't foot that bill no more.
In my opinion, I think the first step is exclusivity. I think, and that's what we're trying to do right now, that we're getting so much pushback for. And we already know why, because they want a fucking piece of the pie. And if they know if we shut that door, they're fucked, and they have to fight each other for it, and they're not willing to do that.
I think
because they're doing that shit in Africa, and it didn't fucking work. So they're doing that. They're like, well, we have privilege over the Black Americans, so I'm
here.
So I'm just gonna go there where I'm privileged to get ahead, than come here where I'm like it's the easier. Same, and I have to fucking fight twice as hard. Fuck that.
It's easier for them here.
And I think that we just need to be exclusive, and then once we can make the distinction and we start gatekeeping the fuck out of our shit, and then it's like taboo to step into our stuff without our permission,
and talk about us a certain type of way. It needs to be unacceptable to talk about us a certain type of way.
Unacceptable. Just like, again, old sentiments you've said. Just like how pedophilia is fucking unacceptable. Yeah. One person steps out of the gate trying to talk about fucking little kids, that shit gets shut down so fast.
Yes.
That's what it needs to be like.
Jews, you can't say nothing about Jews. They'd be like, oh, anti-Semitism.
Nothing.
You can't say a word. It needs to be like that with us, too.
And it needs to be shut down. It needs to not be so funny and like a talking point, and then once we
it's
get
definitely
there,
seen as like a joke, right? Like, ha ha ha! Everybody knows you can't bring a Black American home. It's like, this is not funny,
right?
That's not a fucking joke. It definitely needs to be shut down at the gate.
And
I
then
agree.
once we get there, then we can start doing what the people are doing. What was the school?
At Cornell.
They can do at Cornell, and then we start advocating. Now that we've shut it down and we've made absolute clear distinctions of who we are, what we are,
And what's unacceptable.
Yes. Now these are our demands, and we are the recipients of these demands only. And then, of course, eventually we can build on top of that.
The next census is in 2020, and people are pushing. People are really pushing for recognition of Black Americans on the census as our own ethnicity. It's like a lot of people are pushing for it very hard. Like, nah, this is not what's up. We need our own shit.
And I think
that would be a real. I was just about to say, I think that would be a very solid first step. You read my mind. I was literally about to say, I think that would be a very solid first step, because once we are officially, government federally recognized as our own ethnicity, as like, bitch, this is what it is. Either you is or you ain't. Then we could just really start setting some much more clear parameters again in terms of, because the census, I'm going to send you the essay that I wrote, because I even put this in the essay. The census is a big part of the allocation of funds, because the census has the breakdown of, this is how many men, it's loose, obviously, because everybody can't be counted, literally every person, but it's like, this is how many men, this is how many women, this is how many, Blacks, whites, Hispanics, Asians, Pacific Islanders, this is how many people per household, per capita, this is how many people in every city, state, whatever. And they do the census every 10 years, so... And then once they kind of get a loose idea of the numbers, a lot of that is used in terms of how they start allocating federal funds. So it's like, well, according to the census, it's this many people here, this many people there, this many people here. It's this many people per mileage, per capita. So maybe we need to put, it's like this many people in New York that are using the roads. So we need to like budget more money for the roads, stuff like that. That's how like a lot of the census data is used. And so I feel like that would be a really solid first step, establishing our own ethnicity on the census, because then we could be like, well, look, it's this many descendants of American chattel slavery specifically. So these are the type of funds that need to be allocated for us specifically. Mm-hmm. These are the type of programs that need to be allocated for us specifically, not just Blacks in America, African Americans, but like descendants of American chattel slavery specifically. And I also think that type of clear delineation will make it so that if we have that and you still decide, I'm going to do whatever I want, that's a choice you're making. There's no blurred lines. Mm-hmm. There's no confusion. There's no more of this conversation.
I know. Understand.
There's no more of this conversation. Right. Who is, who isn't. We're arguing. We're joking. We're this, we're that. Like, no, it's a clear line in the sand. You're making the choice to step over it. And that's on you. That's not on anybody else.
I mean, of course, until they get hip to the bullshit, I feel like their ego will never let them mark Black American on that sense.
Right. They're always going to be like,
fucking African.
And God forbid it. And this is also why I like DACS, Descendant of American Chattel Slavery, because it actually has the word slavery in it, which fucks with people.
Be like, I'm not a fucking slave, baby.
I'm not a slave, baby. I'm not a rape baby, no mutt. They're not gonna write it. I'm gonna be right there like,
check.
Slave. I'm still a slave, bitch.
Check.
Run me my check.
Give me my money.
Run me my reparations. So I also feel like we do need it, because like, God forbid, if reparations ever came, that's when you'll see some real fighting.
Like the Bro Sisters.
That's when you see some real black on black crime. So there's gonna be all types of fucking immigrants and everybody else lined up for reparations.
I was born here too.
Yes.
Well, where are your parents from?
You're gonna see some real fucking fights if that day ever comes. So I definitely think the delineation on the census is a solid first step. But even outside of like, the system, recognition from the system and infrastructure, I just think it's definitely important for us as like descendants to just, people say a lot about like getting on code. And I definitely think like we need to just get on code in terms of like, this is who we are. We don't need to be ashamed of who we are. We need to recognize that we do have a history and ethnicity, a heritage, and that, we did a lot of fucking work here. we do deserve certain things. There's nothing wrong with that. I think there's also a weird thing, especially in our culture, about like, you know, like not taking handouts and like not, you know.
It's all about being humble.
Yeah,
like, I don't want to
being humble.
And also, I feel like I'm an optimist, but
I'm a pessimist.
I'm
Go
an
ahead.
optimist, but my biggest the one thing I'm very cynical about is I'm like, we're too brainwashed, in my opinion, with like white supremacist ideals and like white worship that I
agree already.
I can't see us anytime soon like being able to get on code.
Well, not soon. I feel like revolution. I feel like I say this all the time. People ask me, you know, like what are some of my ultimate goals and this and that, and I always say like revolutionary work is really slow.
Okay.
This is essentially what we're talking about, like revolutionary work and the liberation of Black bodies and Black American bodies, specifically descendants of American chattel slavery. And I feel like revolutionary work is like really, really slow. Okay. So even when I talk about stuff like this, I'm thinking in terms of like a 60 to 80 year.
You're keeping it in the back of your mind.
Yeah,
right. 60 the time frame is a good,
right? But
6 to 7 decades.
Right, but like I feel like the conversations that we're having now are a good starting point. Mm-hmm. And again, if like this gets changed on the census. Because you have people that now I'm radical. I'm like flip the table, fuck the system. But you have people that need, you know, recognition from the system, that need to see infrastructure change. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a lot of people. So just in terms of like that recognition, I think is important, because then you will have people that maybe were brainwashed, for example, that will be like, oh, it's been recognized.
It's working.
It's been recognized by the system, so now I can recognize it myself. But like I said, the census isn't even for another 2 years, so even that is still like 2.
Yeah, but still, fingers crossed.
Right, and even if it doesn't happen,
take that first step. Fingers crossed in 2 years.
So it's like, and if it doesn't happen this time, we have 10 more years that we have to like build up steam before the census will come around again. Like revolutionary work is very slow work. You have to be really patient. It just like moves very slow. And I also think of it in terms of like a pendulum swinging as well, that you just have to think about like, you know, hasn't been that long since the end of slavery. It's only been like 160 years since the end of slavery, which is really not a long time. And so like after slavery, you know, you had like several decades after the Civil War, you had like several decades of Reconstruction, and you had Jim Crow, and you had segregation, and then you had the Civil Rights Movement, which didn't come until the 60s.
Yes.
So it's only been even like 50.
My grandmother was an adult.
Exactly. So it's even only been like 50 to 60 years since then. And then, I mean, and I'm a separatist. I personally don't even think that integration worked, nor was it the best idea for us. I think it really prioritized putting us into white spaces and white infrastructures as this, model, as this beacon of the way that we're supposed to be, instead of building up our own independent Black communities. So,
and even then, that aspect too, and it's like something we definitely still suffer from today.
We're still working on now,
especially being the like model Negro.
Yeah.
And it's something that I personally struggled with in high school too, because even though I went to a very like culturally like diverse high school, it was still mostly white.
Was it in Arizona?
No, it was in Texas.
In Texas.
Yeah, another red state, but it was mostly still white. So a lot of times I'd find myself, if I was in like in a certain group, like an organization, because I was in JROTC, that I would be like once you started like reaching certain like heights, I'd be like the only Black person there. Yeah. So it's like, oh, you have to be this upstanding, positive Negro because they're all looking at you as the example for everyone. And it's like the type of pressure that puts on people. And it's like,
we were not integrated. We were just assimilated.
We were
white
thrown.
Culture. We were forcibly moved into white culture
and told no matter what they do or say to you, you have to take the high road. You have to be strong and resilient. And it's like, it literally thrusted us into like so much abuse.
Did you see my video on integration?
Yes. A while ago.
That was like 3-4 years old. I was going off. I was like, I'm tired of this integration shit. I'm a separatist.
And it's definitely something too, because even on the flip side, it's still, of course, obviously it didn't even work anyway. Because if you look at other things, it's like I've had friends or people who are like, oh, like I didn't even like talk or like hang out with black people at all. Like there was one black person that I knew in high school, and you know, I didn't really care for him. And then it's like, you mean to tell me like you're in your 20s and your whole life you've only interacted with literally a handful of black people? Like it must be fucking nice to just like live in your own world where you never come in contact with the fucking minority until you like have to, and then you're like, oh, what do I do? And it's like,
I have a friend that says that like integration, that like when we were like segregated, we were kind of like being forced to build things in a certain type of way. And this is sort of in terms of this idea also of like being on code. Like we had to like work together in a certain type of way. Like we literally had to.
We don't have a fucking choice.
Like we had
life
to,
or death in this bitch.
And so I have a friend that likes to say that integration put us in the negative. And since then we've been trying to work to get back to zero in terms of like getting back to certain ideas just in terms of working together and building and creating independent, you know, autonomous black communities, and even this idea of on a global level, global black strongholds.
Or feeling the need to buy from black people,
feeling the need to buy from. I'm all about the black businesses, as everybody knows.
Brought to you by Eden BodyWorks.
Yay, shout out to Eden BodyWorks. He's a major sponsor of this series. Shout out to Eden BodyWorks. Couldn't have this series without Eden BodyWorks. Love them.
I used to shout out every time you would make a thread. I'd be like, Eden BodyWorks. It's great. It's affordable, and their stuff is amazing. And I use it all the time because a girl can't be affording no $20 curling cream. I just can't. But it's like,
and they sponsored the Black Americans.
Hey.
So,
but it's also just very much like that, where it's like people don't want to, like that stigma that like black businesses are untrustworthy, unreliable, and
that grew out of integration.
Yeah,
because before integration, you had to fucking support a black business. Yeah, you had to.
And even then, if you didn't like that one, there was like 10 more that you could go to. Now it's so scarce that if 2 of them fucking suck, you're like, well, what am I supposed to do?
We funneled our best and brightest into white schools, white communities, white businesses, white areas. Like I said in my integration video, we basically put more emphasis on being next to white people than anything else. Like we fought tooth and nail. Like I'm about to be next to this fucking cracker. Like,
and then bringing it back to the black immigrants, how they do that is when they get on top and kick us down is because they want to be that special token Negro that gets to rise above and be with all white people. And they don't want to see many other black people in that area because it reminds them of where they came from. Yeah. I want to know that I've surpassed that and I fucking made it, and I can't do that staring at a bunch of niggas.
And especially not descendants of American chattel slavery.
Especially you.
If they have to look at some Negroes, they really don't want it to be us. They don't want it to be us. And that's white people too. They don't want it to be us because we're just a reminder. Like I say all the time, it's like a hierarchical system. It's like white people at the top, and then you have like non-black persons of color, and then you have like foreign blacks, and then you have like descendants of American chattel slavery at the bottom.
Or like that fucking bastard baby that they have to like keep looking at. They're just like,
yes, we are. No, really, we are though. We really are. We're like
fucking kids.
We are. Like we are really like we're really descendants of American chattel slavery are like a living, breathing, walking around physical embodiment. Now like indigenous people, Native Americans, not so much because like they killed them all.
Right.
So like you only see like a couple of them. Handful,
right?
But like us, descendants of American chattel slavery, we're living embodiments of like slavery, of racism, of again, it's like the war on drugs, the war on crime, prison, like racism, all these things that people don't want to think about, people don't want to that people want to forget. White people, again, non-black persons of color, foreign blacks, immigrants, people that want to buy into this idea of the American dream and stuff like that. None of those people, none of those groups want to look at us because of what we represent. Mm-hmm. None of them. That's why Beyonce makes people so angry nowadays.
So,
because like Beyonce's like on
she don't even really be doing anything.
No, she don't. But they just be like, God, here goes this bitch again talking about Negroes and Creole and Alabama and fucking slavery. God, Beyonce, get this shit off my screen.
And they hate her because she's fucking rich. She doesn't care. And now,
it's just like we are a living legacy. And I even think that's even a part of whatever this narrative of like, there's more black immigrants than descendants of American chattel slavery in America. It's erasure.
There you go.
We are a living legacy of a certain type of, number one, we are a living legacy of an idea of America that people don't ever want to think about or talk about. Mm-hmm. Because you cannot run with your narrative of immigrants make America great, or America is a land of opportunity, or millions. You know, whatever. And this counts for Black immigrants as well. Like, none of them can run with this narrative of like, I could just come here and do whatever I want and get ahead, when you have to look in the face of a descendant of American chattel slavery. No. And then it goes double for the non-Black POC and triple for the white people. Nobody can get away with these lies that they're telling themselves if they have to look us in the face. So they come up with all these reasons, all these excuses as to why it's our fault, as to why we don't work hard, we're lazy,
doing it to ourselves.
Yeah, we're doing it to ourselves, we're fatherless, all these white supremacist talking points that makes it our fault, victim blaming, so that everybody can fucking sleep at night with no concerns about what they're doing to us. And that's also part of why I even wanted to do this series, so that we could fucking talk about it and be like, nah, we're not about to be fucking silenced and motherfucking erased. Not today, bitch. Brought to you by Eating BodyWorks.
There's also just a lot of issues. And it's also one of those things, I feel like there's so many issues in our community that we can't even focus on and work on because we're too busy fucking battling everybody outside. So it's like,
we have no allies. We're always constantly fighting.
Right? Like, there's a fire like getting bigger and bigger in the corner of your house, and you can't because you're trying to keep like the fucking burglars from busting in the house. It's like, do I let them in? Do I tend to the fire? Like, which one's more important? And it's like, because there's so many issues in our community that it's like, I really wish we could be open about and talk about. We all need to work on it without being so defensive, but it's like we can't because we're so busy trying to fucking keep our head above water.
We're just trying to keep our head above water.
That we can't even focus on the other shit that we're dealing with. And because of that, it's getting progressively worse, which is why we have issues that Black Americans can't stay on code, or they keep letting everybody fucking in. And then it's like, stop letting all these people in the house. Like, there's not enough room in the house. And they're like, nah, we want to be accepted. We want to be loved. Come the fuck in. And it's like, get some fucking self-esteem.
Self-respect. Yeah, that's getting back also into the shame aspect of, well, other people want to be like us, and other people want to be here in our country, and they have a real culture and a real this and a real that, and we don't. So we need to be flattered, exactly. And it's just like, but that's part of the brainwashing. That's part of the propaganda. Again, it's all part of larger systems and narratives that are at play for us to be erased and silenced and downtrodden because of who we are and what we represent. Who we are specifically and what we represent is not good for anybody except us. Like, it's really not. Like I said, us and like indigenous people, but it's about only 3 of them left. So like, we are like holding on. Like, we are holding on. Like,
And
like,
no lie though, this sounds so fucked up, and I'm so sorry to any of the Native Americans who are going to come across this video. But as someone who like works in healthcare, especially mental health, and I see all of the fucked up shit that's happened to the natives because they're like pushed on the reservations. Like, yeah, they get free housing and they get free education, but because they're so fucking poor, they don't even have basically real legit access to that. Every time they come in, they always have fucking lice. Like, they live in like squalor, and 9 times out of 10 they die very young because they drink themselves to death.
Yeah, I know that like the alcoholism.
Who introduced that to them?
I know that the alcoholism is like a big problem,
and it's genetic. So I'm pretty sure, obviously, there was something in their DNA beforehand that like was never meant to be introduced to alcohol, and then when they were, it was just a spiral downhill from there. So it's like,
and like the casino thing and the gambling.
Yeah. So when you like actually come in contact with like a bunch of Native Americans, it's like, it breaks my heart because I'm like, white America fucked.
Oh, white people touch
you. Like,
white people ruin everything they touch.
Like, screwed them, and they're like, all in order to get benefits, they have to live on a reservations, and a lot of the reservations are just terrible. And again, it's like they can't fucking do nothing because it's like, well, where are we supposed to go?
Right.
And it's like,
how long have you lived in Arizona?
Almost 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, also ran into a bunch of Black immigrants here that I didn't think that would happen, but it's just very fucked up. So like you said, there's only 3 of them left. Like, no, but for real.
No, I'm not exaggerating. Right, like, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating.
And I feel bad because I was like, the one thing that we got is like, we got the fucking numbers, and fucked up again. I was like, It's so fucked to say it, but I was like, our like kryptonite and not as well as that we were stronger than them.
Yeah.
So we didn't die.
No, it's
and
true.
That's the only reason why we're not in the same
like
fucking predicament as that.
We've been talking a lot about things that it's been like taboo to
fucked up to say, but
it's like very taboo to say, but it's also very true. It's like if you think about slavery, like they literally worked people to death, literally, like until they dropped dead. So it's like if you are a descendant of American chattel slavery in the sense that, you know, like you're a survivor, that your bloodline survived. So that means that like number one, you are from the stock, really, that was just physically stronger.
So we got all them fucking super athletes.
Right. Seriously though, no, seriously. Like you're just from a stock that was just physically stronger because like people just drop dead every day. Mm-hmm. And so those are bloodlines that are just gone, that will never be wiped off. So it's like from jump, you're already, if you're a descendant, you're from a bloodline that is physically stronger, that is physically less susceptible to illness. Because if like an illness swept through the plantation, it's going to kill off the people that are weak, that have the weak immune system. So it's like you're from a stock that is like physically stronger, that is like physically less susceptible to illness, that is just like, because like slaves, the conditions too that they were living in. They were
working
like
in rain, hell, sleet, or snow, bitch. It didn't matter.
Like,
with no fucking shoes.
Right. Like drop a baby, you out in the field the next day.
Right.
Like surviving being beaten, whipped,
mutilated.
They
were
like
cutting people's fucking hands and feet off. Like and what the hell? Making them work with crutches? Like what the shit is that?
So we do have again like intergenerational trauma in the sense of again like we will fucking, people call us lazy, but it's like we will work through anything for the most part. Like we will even hold on mentally through shit that would like kill somebody else because that's just where we come from.
It's what we've had to do to survive. Even to this day, like it's so funny because it's like again, it's even passed down to me too because my mom is her mom
feel like gotta make a way.
Right, my mother was a maid, and they grew raised in Florida, moved to Alabama, raised the rest of her life there. In Alabama, they had like a farm. And my mom, she was like, yeah, we'd go out on the farm and we'd fucking plant like a whole field worth of plants, no equipment, just with our hands. And then we would harvest that shit. And then we would can it and all this other stuff. And so then like just dating back to the point now, my mom is like, if you're not doing something, if you're not moving, if you're not working, if you're not cleaning or anything, you're lazy. Mm-hmm. So it's even we inflicted on ourselves. It's like we fucking work hard. And if you're not working or doing anything,
what the fuck are you doing?
What are you doing? And it's like frowned upon, like shame. Like the worst thing in a black family you can be is fucking lazy, aside from a liar and a thief. But is lazy. No
liars and no thieves.
And it's like, and it's so ironic that it's like, oh, black people are fucking lazy. Like you will get the shit dragged out of you for being lazy in a black family.
But that's what I was saying too. People project the things that they are onto us. It's like white people literally brought us here to work for them and build everything for them. And then when we said, we're not doing this anymore, they call us lazy. It's like, you're the lazy ones. That's like classic textbook.
You don't want to do this till you die, you entitled piece of shit.
Right. That's like textbook projection. Like projection, deflection, and gaslighting. I say that's like the unholy trifecta. Projection, deflection, and gaslighting. It's people putting things on you that they're doing. They try to deflect and change your mind, or they try to just gaslight and just straight up make you believe some shit that is just not true. Those are the three main ways that people get inside your mind and fuck with you. And I feel like it really has happened on a massive scale, just like systemic brainwashing to descendants of American chattel slavery. And we're like just now waking up and like shaking it off and snapping out of it. And that's also why I said in terms of like revolutionary work being like long, slow work, because you just have like millions of people that just have to like wake up.
And it's also too for, because, we have to wake up out of it. But also, I think it's a lot of, like, slowly realizing, again, you're waking up. It's like, well, we've been doing it this way. Yeah. They told us if...
And this way isn't working.
Yeah, they told us if we did it this way, we would get something out of it, or we would be this way. We've done that for X amount of years, and it's gotten worse.
Exactly.
So clearly what we're doing is wrong. And now everyone's like, wait... all that shit our parents didn't fucking work. Now we need to stop doing that now. Same thing, like you said, respectability politics.
Fuck your respectability politics.
Fucking stand wanting us to be like meek and docile and morally upright. Fuck all of that.
Yeah.
All of that.
That's why.
Where has that gotten us? And it's like just the same thing. It's like, I wish I could have an example on the top of my head, but it's like when they're like, well, I know you don't like it, but like, well, white people do it and da 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 da, and you shouldn't want to do what white people do because you should want to be better than that.
I don't want to be better than shit.
Of course, depending on the circumstances, obviously. But it's like, but why? They have been depraved like monsters for centuries, and it's gotten them what they want on top. I'm not saying that we have to flip the script and take a page out of their book and be like, all right, it says
colonizer mind. We don't need a colonizer mind.
Right? It says, all right, first line, slaughter the indigenous people. All right, let's get to it. Like, we don't have to do that. But it's like, us being morally right, well, like, I'm just gonna forgive you because that's the right thing to do. Fuck that. Fuck forgiveness. Don't fucking forgive them. They don't give a shit about your forgiveness.
I agree with that
don't
completely.
care. And it's like, it drives me nuts, but also, like, we're waking up and we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, no, I'm not apologizing. No, I'm not accepting your fucking apology. In fact, I'm gonna get you fucking fired. And I'm not gonna feel bad about it.
I think there's also like a moral element to that we also have adopted from religion and Christianity, which we were taught
Forced.
which we were forced to adopt by slave owners. That was put on us. And I think that there's like a moral element of that too, of like, well, you know, your slave owner beat you, but heaven is waiting for you on the other side, so like don't rebel against him. You know, like we have just a lot of learned behaviors that are just really embedded and
passed
post-traumatic slave syndrome. Everyone read it by Joy DeGruy. We have a lot of holdover behaviors from slavery that are just really deeply embedded and ingrained in our brains in terms of morality and just behaviors, things that we do that I do think, but again, it's like, it's such a slow process. And you also do have to take into consideration, again, like slavery lasted for centuries, and it's only been 150 years since slavery was abolished, and it's even only been 50 or 60 years post-civil rights movement, and so we're trying to get back to zero.
Yeah, and they're already trying to roll back that stuff.
Yeah,
and it's like, or the stuff that they've rolled out already is like they found a way to twist it to no longer benefit us already. Yeah. So it's like, again.
Well, that's even why I'm in favor of like radical, like, we have to exist outside of the infrastructure. The entire infrastructure, the entire system, as far as I'm concerned, just has to be dismantled. I personally don't think there's any fixing it. I don't believe it can be fixed.
We tried to patch it up. Every time they find a way around.
Of every single, literally, American institution is racism, is anti-Black racism specifically. And it is racism against the descendants of American chattel slavery, even more specifically. And it's just like, if that's the bedrock of every single one of your institutions, it can't be fixed. It just has to be dismantled, and we have to start over. And the descendants of American chattel slavery also really have to start learning ways to, again, move around the system, as far as I'm concerned, because I just don't think it's ever going to work for us. But that's just really my opinion on that, my 2 cents.
No, I agree. And like you said, it's a long road. I don't think racism will ever end. It won't.
Hashtag guess all white people are racist.
I don't think it will never end.
Why would it?
It's working. Like, why would it end?
So
They're
many,
getting what they want.
You have so many people that are benefiting off of it, and yet again, not even just white people. Like, yes, you have white people that are at the top of the hierarchical structure, but you also have non-Black persons of color that are benefiting. And now you have these like waves of foreign Blacks that are coming to the United States and that are benefiting. The only people that are fucking not benefiting are descendants of American chattel slavery. So if it's fucking working for everybody else, why would they ever stop it?
They're like, bitch, you're the sacrificial lamb, and you always have been, and you will continue to be, to keep this shit afloat.
And I feel like that's something I keep saying too. I'm like, people don't want to dismantle this system. They just want to get to the top of it and get it to work for them, and it is working for them, and they don't care.
Their seat at the table. They want their piece of the pie.
So descendants just got to be like, nah, this is not working. This isn't working for us. We're moving around it. We're saying fuck everybody. We're doing what's best for us at this point. And again, in terms of the global Black strongholds, that's just for like Black people worldwide that just want to like get with it and get out of these fucking racist ass power structures. Because I agree with you. I don't think they're going to go away. Mm-hmm. We have to build around them, get outside of them. And even like I said in my integration video, to the point where we become our own sort of independent and autonomous sort of superpowers. Because I said in that video, I was like, you can't fucking argue with a superpower if you have an autonomous community that exists outside of your system that's fucking running your system ragged. You can't just keep ignoring them. And I think that's a lot of the directions that we have to start moving in ultimately in the future, I think.
That's just one thing it's very hard. Of course, it's going to take probably close to a century for being honest. Because too many people are complacent, too many people are comfortable.
I have faith in the Gen Z though. They need to get their faces out of the screens first, just because the screens are like driving them to suicide and stuff. But like aside from that, they're smart. I have faith in them.